Good afternoon and welcome to the Daily Potato Company live stream coverage of this TSL game between Lauderdale and Launceston. We've cut it very fine to the start here with the intro. We're about to jump straight into the action here at Skybus Park. I'm Andrew Calling. Joining me to call the action this afternoon, a bit of a blast from the past. He has more duties these days. He's back behind the microphone today, the CEO himself, Damien Gill. Good afternoon, sir.
G'day, Andrew. What a pleasure to be back behind the mic for what should be a cracking contest. Round 6 action in TSL, of course, courtesy of the Daily Potato Co. We bring this one live to you, and yeah, no pleasantries. We're straight into the action here. A formidable opponent for Lauderdale to host down here at Skybus Oval. And over to you, Andrew Calling, to open up proceedings.
So we're ready to go here. Big Smith in the ruck wins the first tap. Bit of a shirt grab there on Leonard Marlin. That's right under the umpire's nose. Palfreyman just infringing a tad there, so an opportunity for Marlin to send them forwards. It's an arduous task ahead of them this afternoon, trying to get the better of this Launceston side that's been so good, and Palfreyman has that one kicked straight into him. A little bit sloppy, but they'll gift it straight back. But looking forward to seeing what this Lauderdale team can do this afternoon. They've struggled at home to start the year, 0-3. They need a result, and there's a strong mark taken by Blackburn.
Blackburn wheels around, throws it on that right boot, into the pocket, and it's Siggins, who just got loose on Woolley there, takes it almost uncontested. So Sam Siggins, who's been the Swiss Army knife for Lauderdale over recent years, you can play him anywhere, being thrust forward this year, and has looked pretty dangerous. He'll look to open the account for the Bombers, get the home fans roaring. Starts his approach. Sam Siggins off the right boot, makes the goal umpire work a lot. In fact, it's the boundary umpire that has to work as it's out on the full.
Yeah, fair to say, didn't quite catch that one right. Kicked 3 goals, 6 last week, so accuracy perhaps a bit of an issue, but look, they'd love to have 2 of him. His impact has been profound up forward, but he's also the number 3 centre clearance player in the league, so it's the impact he has. This one's handled over the top, but Launceston are quickly going to win back possession. Burling down there to Zach Morris, having a fantastic season is Morris. That one a little short there for Jamison House, but he stoops to take the mark out of Tilly. Launceston looking to gain control of this game early on. Driven down the line with a searching kick. Poland came from behind. He's been one of the best intercept players in the league this year, William Poland, and going to be vital to Lauderdale's hopes today against a side in Launceston who really do monopolise the football. They control possession. A lot more uncontested marks than any team in the league. Once they get it, it's hard to win it back. So important they do so at the Calface. Going in low was Walsh. Can anyone get a meaningful clearance? Leonard Marlin again was in there. Spilled it out. Looking there for Sutton, who was just buffeted off the ball. Coming in over the top, Nat Franklin. And eventually the Bombers will chip it up to the wing. The mark taken by Blackburn. Centre wing wants a lead from his half forwards. He sends a high one over the top looking for Siggins, who just does it beautifully. Only needs the one arm. There's Sammy Siggins. Chipped it inboard here to Sam Tilly. Tilly drives them inside 50. Can he find a marking target? He can. And it's Jaden Magro.
What a piece of play that was from Sam Siggins. Just brute strength on the undersized Woolley. That's a match-up to watch, Andrew Calling.
Yeah, just held him off with the one arm and then scooped it in with the other. It was pure power, and speaking of power, here's a tough customer in Jaden Magro with the opportunity to get Lauderdale's first of the afternoon. He kicks from around about 40 out. Goal umpire does not move. The first goal of the afternoon to the home side, and they've made a positive start here in this one, Gilly.
They have indeed. That was really good ball movement. It started with Sutton on the wing. We said the brute strength of Siggins, who wasted no time, got it across. Tilly, good vision, inboard. Magro, who finishes the job. Good ball movement, Lauderdale. Hot start, that's what they're after. Generally, a lot of the time, the scoring at Skybus Oval is to the left of screen, so to be scoring goals to the right, albeit I'm not 100% sure what the breeze is doing. Looks a good start. You can see it sort of blowing to the left of screen on Joby Harper's Guernsey there as the hit out is one straight down. It'll be Hayden Smith to mop up. Gets it to Walsh. Slaps it on the boot. A bouncing ball. Blackburn's been busy. He's eyeing this one off, but it was Harry Richmond claimed in a good tackle by Boyd. It'll be ball up just around the arc here at Skybus Oval. Down from Smith. Marlin was held without it, so he'll get a free kick. So Marlin, little chiseling ball onto the chest of Magro, who just scored the first goal of this game. And we'll have a look at a second. Again, not 100% sure what the breeze is doing. Sometimes it's pretty unpredictable down here at the tip. But Magro starts his approach. It'll be every bit of 45 metres. Goes out to the left on an arc. Sends it sailing straight through. Magnificent work, Jaden Magro. 2 goals for him, 2 for the Bombers, and a hot start at home.
Yeah, they're flying, and Magro with 2 marks, 2 goals. It's a perfect start for him. Just hit up beautifully both times. Good service. He's a player that dearly love to get going, Lauderdale. They need to diversify the goal kicking a little bit. They haven't quite had the depth in options, but if Magro can start getting amongst it, it'll be a big boon to them as Alan Christensen moves into the midfield for the first time this afternoon. But over to Launceston, trailing here by 2 goals. Not a position I think they've been in this year at all. They've been pretty dominant in all their games, so we'll see how they respond. Can they get an immediate clearance? Couldn't quite get the clear and kick Gillow. Christensen's handball, not a great one, but Tilly made it work. Nice little 1-2, and Lennon Marlin just put off his kick at the last second by Morris. With hands, they try and work it through half forward. The slinging kick finds Magro again. It wasn't 15, so he has to play on. Wheels around for his 3rd, Jaden Magro. Couldn't quite bend it back enough. He thought he had the mark, a little oblivious there for a second. And may well have been 3 straight had he been given the chance.
Woolley brings it back into play, speeds out from fullback. A good fist from Franklin brings it down to the floor. Sutton goes to work. Off for Magro. Marlin inboard. It was a shank inside 50. The elevator doors close around House to great effect. It'll be a Blackburn ball. Blackburn's been busy. Pokey little ball, looking for Siggins, just out of his reach. Boyd on top of it, claimed in a Stanley tackle. The umpire, Nathan Geeson, says, give it to me. Throw up. It's been all Lauderdale thus far. Siggins in the ruck, Woolley over the top, acrobatic stuff. Just flicked on with a little kick off the deck. A tumbling ball to the outer wing. They wrestle for possession. It's Boyd looking for it. Handed off now. It'll come back in by Hooker. Almost for Blackburn. Boyd there. Just gets by 1. Jaden Hines hands off to Dylan Riley. The Star Blue slaps it on the boot. A long ball. Pack forms. Almost for McGuinness. Hines, the Hudson Medal leader, farms out a handball. It was straight to Marlin of the opposition. He puts a tumbling punt down the line. Good contest provided by Blackburn. Off to Magro. He gets his kick away. Almost for Siggins. They wrestle for it on the ground. Likely stoppage. And it is forward 50 for the Bombers.
So doing well in the trenches early on here, Lauderdale. It's one area where Launceston don't have the kind of dominant stats in the league, mainly because they've just been able to control games, but make this a contested slog that may well suit the Bombers here as the clearing kick comes out into the middle, just working his opponent under. The ball was Burling. Spills out wide though for Bryce Walsh. Chips it up to that man Magro, who's been very busy early on.
He's everywhere.
And he'll swing them inside 50 once more here. Jaden Magro sends them deep. The fly came from Richmond. Siggins was in there as well. Christensen with the tackle. The clearing kick will come back at them if Smith can complete the mark. Not quite. They once again go back to Magro. Now McGuinness, the key movers, getting involved for the Bombers here. Can they find a mark inside 50? Siggins the target. Fisting from behind was Woolley. Spills out the back there to Dylan Riley on the last line of defence. Just got his handball over the top to Hines. They flick one out into space. And there was Chilcott, and eventually they're able to clear the area, but boy were they under pressure at the back there, the Blues. Did well to keep their composure.
They did indeed. It feels like a reasonably stiff breeze to the right of screen on this occasion. We're used to it going to the left, but certainly all the play down this end of the ground. And the Blues at the moment just trying to weather an early Lauderdale storm. Undersized in the ruck, it's House. He brings it to the floor. Jake Hines, not quite. Ran out of tarmac. And the ball will be brought back in.
Pushing Hines up onto the ball, trying to get him involved here. The ball hasn't gone down their forward line yet.
No, it hasn't. They've got some weapons, Launceston, albeit got a few out of their lineup today. His House just does what he needs to get it moving their way. It's with Magro again. I tell you what, he is absolutely everywhere at this point in time. As well, kicked by Tilly to Walsh and then helped further by Ratcliffe, but it's all the Blues through Tuttle.
And Tuttle, the relieving mark, just chipping that one short and finds Samuel Foley on the half-back flank. Patience at the back, and now they might look to switch things up. Turning inside here is Foley, and he'll drive them into the middle of the ground. It's a lovely kick to find Smith. Handball over the top was a good one, and they'll go deep inside 50. Was that touched? No, it wasn't. Just a bad kick in the end. Williams picking that one off. Perhaps the wind impacting things a little there as Marlin chips it forward, and they build with a series of nice little kicks here. William Poland now works his way up to the wing. Controlled ball movement here from the Bombers as they look towards the half-forward line. Numbers with the Blues here. Couldn't quite complete the mark. And eventually, on hands and knees, they clear it away to Fletcher Seymour. He flicks it over the top to Brendan Taylor. Taylor driving them inside 50, and they have a mark here through Josiah Burling. Looks over his shoulder. There's a few runners, but in the end, seems to think he's got the distance. So this might be a good test of how strong the wind is. Probably wheel around and kick from about the arc of 50 with Josiah Burling.
Reasonable run up here.
He seems to fancy himself. Going 11 minutes in the opening quarter. Launceston yet to score in this one. And he does. Gets completely underneath it though and just sits it up to the top of the square. The big men fly off the chest of Thurlow in the end. Clearing kick out of there from Stanley. Not a good one. Plenty of Blues. Two of them ran into each other though. Disastrous stuff there, and it might let them off the hook, the Bombers. Ratcliffe now over the top. Sweeping handball, and it found its way to Nat Franklin with a low tumbling kick. Just about picked off by Tuthill back there, who's able to gather and swing the Blues towards half forward. Carries a fair distance inside 50, but there's numbers back there. Putting his body in the line was Burling. Hines in pursuit, just weaving out of the way was Sutton. And with hands, McGuinness is able to clear it up towards the wing. The ball just sits. Smith there, the big man, comes in over the top and gives away a rather clumsy free kick.
Clumsy's the word, Andrew. And he looks in a spot of bother here, Boyd. I don't think there was malice in it. I just think, you know, big men, ruckmen, they're not always your thinking man's footballer. He just came in clumsily and collected Boyd. Hopefully he's okay. He'll get up and take his kick. Jacob Boyd plays on, looks long down the line, and uncontested, Jake Hines takes a mark out in front of his opposing hooker. So Jake Hines, who is leading the Hudson medal on 20 goals, this would be one of his better goals of the year if he was to execute. Right on the paint of 50, left half forward here at Skybus Oval. Goes out on a little arc, play on, kicks for a pack. The numbers come to it. Oh, one bite of the cherry, not quite the second for Joby Harper. So their first score for the game is a minor one. And Lauderdale will bring it out from full-back via Josh McGuinness.
So on the board are the Blues. Their star forward Jake Hines in the league, both goals and marks inside 50 by a comfortable distance. Number one has been dominant so far this season as Josh Williams gets the ball at half-back. Quite content to move the ball with these short little chipping kicks. So far have Lauderdale. And Christensen tight to the boundary line here. Again, looks for a short option. The Blues have that covered, so he'll be forced to go further afield. And wasn't his best kick. In the end, forced to defend from behind there was William Shaw. Fell, though, to Riley, who drives the Blues deep inside 50 to the square. And then the snap from the angle, a pretty spectacular effort. O'Connor with a lovely goal, just reacted quickest. And from the tightest of angles, he gets the Blues first of the afternoon. Well done indeed by Aidan O'Connor.
You've got to be happy with that. Launceston, very efficient work inside 50. Haven't seen too much time in their half of the ground. Lauderdale on the counter would be pretty disappointed, really, for so much of their good work. They lead it by a goal right now. So well done to young O'Connor. Executed nicely. Now it's up to the Bombers to respond. Good game of footy so far. As we often see down here at Lauderdale, a bit of an arm wrestle. House and Smith. Smith straight to Franklin. Great centre clearance. Kicking in the direction of Stanley. A couple of juggles. And he takes the mark. So Ed Stanley turns his back on goal and he'll go back and line up. Looking for Lauderdale's third.
Yeah, good chance for an immediate response here. I'd love to hit back and get that 2-goal lead, though, as you say, Gilly. They probably deserved on balance of play. It feels like they should be more than a goal to the good.
Certainly. Ed Stanley, seen him have a few days out. Notably one in a final where he kicked 6 or 7. He goes and starts his approach. He leaves that hanging out to the left. He'll be a bit disappointed with that, Ed Stanley. Got to make the most of your shots on goal against a team like Launceston, as Woolley brings it straight back in and he kicks to the bullseye right in the middle of the park. Marlin there to cut it off. Drops it off to Christensen. They move it out to Sutton. Often the outlet here at Lauderdale. Reliable player over a reasonable period now, Sutton. He combines with Josh McGuinness, who started forward this season, has gone back to his trusty defensive duties. Gibson finds Sutton again. Go to Marlin. Had a fair bit of the footy in this quarter, has Marlin. Again, has been used differently across the season. Kicks long in the direction of Siggins. Tries to jostle for position. Riley wins it. Little tap on from Siggins. Stanley was swung without it. He'll get a free kick. So yeah, one-sider before. This is a lot harder kick on goal.
Take something pretty special from this spot on the ground.
Hemmed in on the boundary, right forward pocket. You'd think this might be a little kick to the top of the square, but we'll wait and see. Starts his approach, a little skip. Right from the paint of the boundary. He sends his shot on the way. And he's kicked it! Ed Stanley. He's made that look easy in the end. Just tucked it in, inside the left upright. Terrific finish, Ed Stanley. And Lauderdale extend their advantage again. They lead at 3-2 to 1-1.
Outstanding from Stanley. Just the casual drop punt, if you don't mind. Just worked it through. Threaded the angle absolutely superbly there, did Ed Stanley. And they restore that little buffer to 13 points. It would have... they felt like they should be further ahead, and they get something from almost nothing there. A low percentage chance tight to the boundary, and you get a goal. That's massive. And the type of chances they are going to need to take if they're going to spring this upset today, as House wraps up Hayden Smith. Anderson House man in the middle here today. On the way, get out of the side as Smith will look to get the advantage. He certainly has a fair size advantage on House in that one, as the tackle laid again by Leonard Marlin, has been busy early on with the Bombers controlling the game on the outside. Leads the team in uncontested possessions. His handball receives. He's the guy they like to get the ball to when they can. And it's been the sort of match where they've been able to have it on their terms. Dylan Riley now can send the Blues forward. A penetrating kick deep. The umpire spotted a push, and it's going the way of the Blues. In the end, disappointing. The free kick will go to James Leake. Well, Sure, they really needed to be doing that. Something they had to sit in the marking contest. Had Hines under control, but you give the free kick to young James Leake, who'll go back and try and cut the margin to 7 points here. Pretty regulation kick. 20 out, directly in front. And Leake makes no mistake. The Blues with their second of the afternoon. 2-1-13. Lauderdale still leading 3-2-20. And again, they haven't gone inside 50 all that often, but they've got 2 goals to show from it. That's that brutal efficiency that really everyone has been on the end of this season so far.
A sign of a great side, isn't it? When you get shots on goal, you take them and take full advantage. And well done to young James Leake on debut. He's kicked a goal. We saw everyone run to him and get around him. Terrific that a team like Launceston that has had so much success and has so many senior players continues to blood young guys such as young James Leake, as we're back in the middle again. It's down off the hands of Smith. Running along, it was Thurlow. His handball was misdirected. Seymour cleaned up. Long kick. Looking for Taylor. He spies it off. It was gathered. Little shot. Not a shot in the end. It turned into a pass, and it was Hines who was straight onto it. Wastes no time. Turns around, wheels around, and goals. Ruthless stuff from the Launceston Blues.
Yeah, bang, bang, and they're back within a point, so they've responded quite spectacularly to Stanley's goal. 2 goals, really, in the space of a minute there to cut the margin back to a solitary point. That man, Jake Hines, another mark inside 50 and another goal for him. 21 for him already this season. He has been the focal point for them in attack. And that was a fairly straightforward shot for him as he took the mark. Really unopposed. I don't think it was an intended pass. It was a shot for goal that fell short, but the value of playing in front there paying off for Jake Hines. So back within a point are the Blues in the blink of an eye. And let's see, probably at half-time we'll have a bit of gauge of just what the wind is doing exactly in this one. But if there is a bit of an advantage the Bombers' way, Launceston may be doing very well indeed to be within a point of them at this stage. Hayden Smith won that one down nicely. Leonard Marley's been very busy, but he was dispossessed on this occasion. Forward go the Blues, but Park back there and able to take the mark. It was Hooker. Chips it inside and found Tom Ratcliffe. Drives them to half forward as they speed up the ball movement a little bit here. A clever take from Nat Franklin, who wheels onto his left and sends a high ball inside 50. The defensive fist coming. It'll fall to Jamison House, who's able to clear the area. Sends one into open space. A pretty good kick from House. Just set it out in front of his teammates. They'll send them inside 50, looking for the danger as Hines couldn't get it. O'Connor was lurking, putting the defensive pressure on Oscar Shaw and doing a good job holding up Hines. And there'll be a stoppage inside 50 for the Blues.
Good contest this. Good footy down at Skybus Oval. It's a tough place for visitors to go. It's down from Smith straight to Walsh, who burrowed in, and he's won himself a free kick. Wily customer is Walsh.
I think that's 3 against Paul Freeman High this quarter. He's just been a little over the top with the tackling so far.
A little bit overzealous is Paul Freeman. So Walsh now just finds a target. So we see the scoreboard reading 20-19 here, deep in the first. This live stream thanks to Daily Potato Co. as Oscar Shaw just nudges one into the path of Tilly. Good young player is Sam Tilly. Looks inboard. Marlin. So Marlin opts to leave alone the quick hand pass. Now he'll play on from the defensive arc, kicks to the numbers on the wing. Richmond provides a spoil, and it trickles out of play in front of the scoreboard here at Lauderdale. So a 1 point lead to the hosts, the Lauderdale Bombers. They came out firing. We've seen the quality of the reigning premiers. See them roll back into the game as House gets it down. Siggins having a stint on ball, off to Christensen. Touch ball now. Richmond sits under it. He's got to play on. Hands it off to Marlon. Marlon off his right. A wobbler into the arms of Magro. It just seems to be right place, right time this afternoon.
He's third and mark inside 50 and a chance for another goal here for Magro. He's the real focal point in attack for them at the moment.
Well, you can see why, can't you? He's had 3 shots on goal already, 2 goals, 1. Just looks dangerous whenever it's in his area. Really starting to find his groove in the Tasmanian State League. So Magro starts his approach out to the left, off that left boot. Never looked like missing. Jaden Magro, 3 first quarter goals and looks like really being a game breaker here in the TSL round 6 action. Lauderdale lead at 26-19.
Yeah, huge for them to have that other target in attack. Maybe means that Siggins can be used on the ball in spurts a little bit more and they won't lose kind of so much potency in attack if you got him and young Richmond as well, who won the medal last week on Anzac Day and one of the best contested marks in the competition through the opening 5 weeks of the year. So has the makings of a dangerous forward group if he can join in Jaden Magro as he has today. 3 goals in the quarter. He is setting himself up for some sort of day, and the Bombers with a bit of a surprise lead here early on approaching quarter time. 7 points as they go back into the middle. Just worked forward to Leonard Marlon, who's brought his own football here to Skybus Oval this afternoon. And he's been prolific. Defensive spoil came from behind. Spills out the back. Siggins looking to run onto it. Handball over the top, searching for Sutton. Magro again. This time he's wrapped up. This time it'll be a ball up inside 50, but he is all over the football in there, attacking 50. Jaden Magro seems to be going his way every time they go forwards. Ball up inside 50. Siggins cast in the role of ruckman, but no one able to get a decisive hit as it just dropped in front of them in the end. Siggins opting to protect the space. Christensen directing traffic here at the stoppage.
They'd love a late goal here in the quarter.
It'd be huge, wouldn't it, if they could get a 2-goal gap to take in to quarter time. Christensen on hands and knees, handballed it out, but there was Gillow. It's tight in there. Christensen just about gets decapitated. Umpire reckons he ducked into it and says no. And there'll be another stoppage here inside 50. A little stiff there for mine, Alec Christensen.
Probably, but you've got to say umpires are getting really wise to those tactics. As the ball goes up, Siggins takes it himself, a tumbling ball. Woolley cuts it off, hands it off for a teammate. He'll come out of defence, looking towards Casey Brown. Bouncing ball for him to deal with. Siren sounds on an entertaining first quarter here at Skybus Oval. The Lauderdale Bombers lead it. And Andrew Cooling, we had a bit of everything that quarter, but the exclamation point, definitely the performance of Jaden Magro. 3 goals, 1 in the opening term to put Lauderdale in a pretty commanding position against a formidable opposition.
Yeah, certainly a little bit of a surprise given the way Launceston have been so dominant this year. We'll see how they respond in quarter number 2. I suspect they may be kicking towards the friendlier end in terms of scoring, but a little hard to gauge that at the moment. And look, take nothing away from Lauderdale. Their work at the contest in the contested ball at stoppages has been fantastic, and it's not really allowed Launceston to get the ball on the outside and play that really controlling game that they have throughout the first 5 weeks of the year, where they've just been able to kind of run their own race, take uncontested marks everywhere. There's been no space for that. They haven't had the time. The game at the moment is being played on the Bombers' terms, and that's why they lead this one by 7 points.
Few telling outs. I think obviously Joe Groenewegen out, battling his way back into fitness. Blackberry out with the jaw. Musica out, suspended. Wright having a run in the VFL for North Melbourne. So they're not full strength, the Blues, and I think a few of those outs are telling, but we've seen a better Lauderdale so far today, and some of the moving of the magnets over the opening rounds has really intrigued me from Coach Dan Willing. One of them in particular in that quarter, now I've watched a fair bit of Lauderdale so far this year, and he's been used in different roles, but Lennon Marlon had a lot of the footy, and his role on ball is an intriguing one because he was used in defence to reasonable effect in previous rounds, but he looks pretty comfortable through the middle of the ground.
Yeah, he's had his own football at times. He's done a really good job getting the ball inside 50. He's a big, strong body, and I think it's been a really good move to get him involved. Been just about the best player on the park, and they're certainly going to need to start winning the ball a little bit more at those kind of contests, Launceston, if they are to get back on top of this one. Because right now, you'd say the Lauderdale midfield group, led by Marlon, have been in the ascendancy so far.
They have indeed, and I've liked the presentation forward of the footy as well from Lauderdale. I think Michael Blackburn's competed well. We've talked about Sam Siggins, albeit his shot for goal wasn't one to remember. And of course, Jaden Magro, just been outstanding. 3 goals, 1. The other coming from Ed Stanley, who had a sider a little earlier, one that he didn't get anywhere near, and kicked the more complicated one from the boundary, which you can often see from small and medium forwards. So that's the tale for Lauderdale. Launceston did pretty well, must be said, from limited supply inside forward 50.
They've done very well to get 3 goals from not a whole lot of inside 50s at all. They were pretty efficient. They've been the most efficient team in the league this year. I think scoring something like 58% of their forward entries they're getting a score on this year. So we know they're very hard to stop when it gets in there. And that was the case, Lauderdale's defence. They're going to have their hands full. I think their best hope is to, prevent the ball getting in there in the first place. If the Blues were to get back on terms, kind of 50-50 in the midfield battle, could see it becoming a real problem at the back for the Bombers. But as it stands, the Bombers having the better, and 7 points, you'd say they maybe even deserve to be further ahead on balance of play. They've been really good so far.
I think so, but there's such significant upside in this Launceston team. We didn't call Thurlow's name too often. We didn't call Joby Harper's name too often. So there's some guns to come into this game and have an impact. They'd be happy with young Leake and O'Connor both getting on the scoreboard in that first quarter, particularly Leake in his debut. O'Connor has been second for Development League goals this year with 14, so he's brought his goal-kicking form into the senior team. But a good contest, Andrew Cooling. We might have a brief breather here, as with thanks to our friends at Daily Potato Co. We'll be back shortly with the second stanza, but stay with us. Terrific contest on the cards.
back for the second half here at Skybus Oval. It's the home side, Lauderdale Bombers leading Launceston Blues 4-2, 26-3, 19 at quarter time. This is a ground you don't generally like to judge until half time and see the wind's impact on things. We're about to learn just how profound that is, but the Bombers nonetheless will be delighted with that first quarter. Can they keep it going here in quarter number 2? We're ready to get underway. The ball thrown up in the middle. Smith up against House. Smith won it down. Getting in there was Bryce Walsh, and he manages to get a kick away somehow towards Christensen. Took it well below his knees. Handball back there to Hooker, who sends them deep, but parked back there in defence. Here's Josh Woolley to take the intercept mark ahead of Sam Siggins. And Woolley is off here, and he'll chip this one outside 50, but turned it straight over to Reece Sutton. He was the only one there, and Sutton can wheel. He goes looking for Christensen, just worked off it there by Jack Tuthill. Christensen now trying to apply the pressure to Seymour. The leaving kick came from Woolley, and a nice pair of hands shown by Brendan Taylor at half-back, and he takes the mark as they just get out of a little bit of trouble there early on. Perhaps a wasted opportunity for the Bombers. That one just sits up in the breeze, but a strong mark taken by Josiah Burling. And he looks up, doesn't see anything he likes, so might have to kick to a contest. He punches this one further afield, looking for House, couldn't quite bring the mark down. Turning with it is Hooker. Send it backwards there for Shaw, and in the middle, bit of a hospital ball. Wasn't well dealt with in the end by Poland, but he was set up a bit. House gathered and immediately dropped it. And they all pile in here, and there'll be a stoppage at half forward for the Blues.
As we often see, Bryce Walsh trying to bait an opposition player, something new. Death taxes, and as the ball's thrown up around the arc, it trickles along, just socked by Tilly, almost for Harper, farmed out by Taylor. He finds Smith. Great tackle by Sutton. He should be rewarded, and is. Really strong tackle from Sutton on Zach Morris. So he'll sweep it further back in defence. Find Hooker. Gets it moving. It wasn't a great ball at all for Tilly, but he made it look okay, the youngster. Gets it moving on the outer side. Finds a target he likes in Patton. Draws a runner. Off to Williams. Williams now. Good presentation from Blackburn. Gets moving. Inside forward 50 now, the Bombers. Beautiful kick for Siggins, who had Woolley exactly where he wanted him.
Good speed of ball movement there. Isolate that one-on-one matchup with Siggins deep. Get it in there quick and don't allow kind of the zonal defence to come out. If you can get Siggins in one-on-ones all day, that works very nicely for the Bombers.
Works very nicely. One thing that hasn't been working very nicely for Sam Siggins is he's kicking for goal. Bombers will be hoping he can poke this one through and give him the perfect start to the second quarter. So that's his approach. Good contact. Sends it sailing through. Sam Siggins on the board. Perfect start to the second stanza for the hosts. They extend their advantage, Andrew Cooling.
And they start quarter number 2 as they played quarter number 1 and back out to a 13-point advantage. And the Blues continuing to just bleed a little bit out of the middle so far. The Bombers firmly in control in that area. A 13-point advantage now. Start the second quarter. Sam Siggins getting on the board.
Ball movement's just been really, really good from the Bombers.
Yeah, it has really the entire way through. Very assured in possession. It's probably been an area that's hurt them a little in the opening month too. So good to see they've tidied up that area of the ground. They need to start winning it a bit more out of the middle, but it's going to be the Bombers again. And it's going to be that man Magro again who just sends it deep and says, I'll have my 4th of the afternoon already. Jaden Magro having himself a day here at Skybus Oval. Just turns, slams it on the boot from outside 50. And they lead this one by 19 points. And I tell you what, I don't think it was the wind advantage for quarter number 1 because that flew.
Oh boy, an upset is brewing. We are still young in this contest, but Jaden Magro is becoming a real headache for Mitch Thorpe in the coach's box. What a goal that was. He's fourth already. We're only 4 minutes into the second quarter. Nat Franklin dominating inside. The Bombers on top. Down from Smith. Marlin again. There with Franklin. It's won by House. He's claimed in a tackle. The ball trickles out. They wrestle for it at ground level at the bottom. It's Bryce Walsh. Wow, 6-2 plays 3-1. I'm not sure even the most optimistic of Bombers fans saw this coming on their way to the footy this afternoon as Marlin sends a kick towards the arc. Not there for Riley. Richmond picks it up. Off to Christensen. Snaps it inside 50. Too much on the kick. Out of bounds on the full. Be Jaden Hines to bring it back in. You've always got to see a half of football at the tip before you judge what's going on. Signs so far are just telling us that Lauderdale are playing some darn good footy, Andrew Cooling.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are well on top of this contest. And certainly the ball, well, it's holding up a little for the Blues. Certainly not kicking to an easier end as Poland will send them inside 50 once more, looking for that. Siggins one-on-one again, controls it, kept it out in front of him. Pretty well defended though. And a strong tackle laid by Reece Sutton. He's starting to lift here in quarter number 2. The real intensity about their tackling and the pressure they're bringing, outstanding, the Bombers. And they're just shocked Launceston, who haven't been in this position so far this year, but we know the amount of talent they've got. They'll be up for this fight as that one is marked by young Tilly, another who's impressed. Can he find Christensen, who was offering a lead, goes deeper instead, looking for Siggins, goes for the one-hander, offhand to Harry Richmond, who makes it 7-2-44 to 3-1-19. They're out by 25 points. They've kicked 3 goals in the opening 6.5 minutes of the quarter. Oh boy, it's all coming up Bombers here, D. Gill.
Shockwaves through the Launceston coaching box. Something has to give here for the Blues. The Bombers are on top. They mean business this afternoon. Daniel Willing, you just see in the background there, you can almost see the grin from ear to ear. He'd be delighted with what he's seeing from the Bombers. And it's starting inside. They really are bullying the Blues around the ball.
Absolutely.
And that's where the response has to start if you're Mitch Thorpe. Hayden Smith at superior advantage with height on ball, and he's making it count. He misses this one. Here's House. Claimed in a tackle from Magro. Wrestling was Marlin. Got it to Walsh. He just gets a kick away. Bouncing ball cut off by the Blues. Here's Riley. Pokey ball onto the outer wing almost for Smith. He brings it under his spell off that left boot. Nicely finds a target in Leak. Inside forward 50. He heads now. Hines jostles for position. Bursting through was Burling. He's got one offering on if he wants it in Chilcott. It goes further still. Now there for Paul Freeman. Play on call. Dropped it back for Chilcott. Now for Paul Freeman. Swings the ball inside looking for Hines over his head. They wrestle for it at ground level. And the Bombers escape. Coming out, it's a mongrel of a kick. It worked somehow for Marlin. Back from Smith. Bouncing ball into that left forward pocket. Tilly being good. Off for Marlin again. Brought his own share into the footy today. And Riley cuts off.
So a couple of loose kicks there. And they'll get another chance here, will the Blues. Needing a goal here, down by 25 points. This one just holds up. Flying high was Tilly. Couldn't quite bring it down. It was a tremendous leap though. He's an exciting young player, is Sam Tilly.
I've loved his game so far.
Yeah, he's been a real bright spot for them. A real good turn of pace and going the big fly there, which we always love to see. As the ball's back into play. Smith has had his way with House in the ruck contest so far, using his size advantage, and that's going to be over the shoulder. A free kick going the way of Bryce Walsh, who lets his opposition know all about it too. Does Bryce Walsh. And he sends them towards half forward. Richmond couldn't quite bring it down, but from the ground he got the handball away, flicked back inside. Magro, that was incredibly swift, so swift I don't know if it was a throw, but geez, it was fast hands all the same. the Blues now the half forward, but two players spoiling each other, trying to get out the back was Leake. They've lost control of it though. Tilly, shrugged one, shrugged two, Tilly. And then sends them towards half forward with a kick towards Christensen. Some good body work from Blackburn. He's been impressive as they hit up half forward. That looks pretty deliberate. I'm not sure there was sufficient intent, but sufficient intent enough for the umpire. Throw in.
Benefit of the doubt, says umpire Cornish. So the ball to be thrown in. Smith on top in the ruck, wrestles into best position, taps it over the back. Magro eyes it off, out from Harper, almost for Thurlow, back in board for the Bombers. It was Richmond who couldn't quite complete the transaction, just gets his kick away, a bouncing ball, and it'll go out deep forward 50 for the Bombers, right where they want it. Siggins cried for a free kick, but he'll be the one to take the ruck contest against Woolley. Undersized today, it must be said, the Blues. So Siggins down looking for Christensen. It's mopped up by Woolley. An ugly kick off his boot will find its way out. So Launceston, a number of their prime movers well held thus far. We can see in the back of shot Mitch Thorpe with some thinking to do. Smith taps over the back. Franklin almost out through Thurlow. Bouncing ball. Taylor couldn't quite gather. Magro wrestling for it on the ground. It was Brown rather. Thurlow, an ill-directed handball off from Magro, who just sends it flying through for a minor score. But geez, haven't we loved his game thus far?
I thought he had number 5 there for a second. Jaden Magro is again just launching from outside 50. A fair boot on him. Flying in from the side there was Dylan Riley, who's one of those star players you mentioned, Damien, who's been well held. He, Jake Hines, Joby Harper, real stars in this team, not having their usual influence on the contest. They certainly got that improvement in them, but they're going to need to step up, or it's going to be the Bombers. So they're looking in command at the moment. On the offensive once more, Lennon Marlin didn't quite want to go in for that one. All cleared towards half forward for the Blues, bustling through Thurlow. Another one they'd like to see a lift from. And tackle laid. Coming in from the side was Leake as well, but yeah, Jackson Thurlow, another name we haven't heard called a lot today. House and Smith again to compete in the ruck, and Smith won that one down, but taking it off half-back was Foley, who punches them inside 50. Poland's read that one the whole way and just takes the intercepting mark. It's what he does so well, William Poland. Just runs off, a little bit sloppy on that occasion, but time to recover it for hooker. Magro clean beneath his feet. He's now bobbing up further afield. Wasn't his best kick, though. Really set a task for Lennon Marlin, surrounded by 3 blue shirts, but they come away with it all the same through Reece Sutton. Chips it up to half forward for Blackburn. Returned it to Sutton, who sends them inside 50, and he finds Siggins. Again, it's just delightful ball movement from the Bombers, and a great chance for Siggins to extend the lead to 32 points.
Glorious footy, and it all started with a piece of desperation from Lennon Marlin. He's having a blinder, as are the Bombers.
And they can go out to a 32-point advantage here if Sam Siggins can kick his second of the afternoon. It's definitely a gettable goal by his standards. It's a long approach from Sam Siggins. He kicks from 35. It's a pretty good kick, and they get their 8th of the afternoon, the Bombers. And they're sensing something is on the up here for them at Skybus Oval. The fans, I don't think we're expecting this. I certainly wasn't expecting this. But they are absolutely smashing the Blues at the minute. It's 51 plays 19.
Wow. Wow. You could be excused for thinking the scores are the wrong way around. That's probably what we all expected coming to the footy today, but Lauderdale have been excellent. And their ball movement has been a real feature. The connection between back half, forward half, just outstanding footy. And Dan Willing must be smiling like a Cheshire cat over there in the the coach's box as we're down for another little scrimmage, and it'll be balled up again in the middle of Skybus Oval. But they have been dominant.
Yeah, didn't see this one coming.
As Smith and House go to work, almost for Thurlow. He collides with Christensen. A couple of ex-Cats. Ball goes up again. Down from Smith. He taps it out the back. Now here's Thurlow to go to work. Chipping ball to Smith. Thurlow keeps on running. He might get the return ball. It's off to Seymour now. Seymour to Thurlow. Jigs one way, then the other. Inside 50. Good ball. Finds Taylor. Hemmed in, left half forward. Right in front. The supporters area for the Bombers. He's confident. Brendan Taylor starts his approach. Man they call brawler at Launceston. Good kick. Well presented by Casey Brown. Just arrived at the right time and took it well, and will line up for a much needed goal for the Blues.
Yeah, good attack there. Just launched at the ball in clean hands, and to say this is badly needed is a hell of an understatement, with his team 32 points in arrears midway through quarter number 2.
They need a fire starter, the Blues. Can Casey Brown ignite something? In he comes. Well finished off by Brown, and the Blues badly needed that one.
Yeah, they do. They get the steadying goal, and we know there's so much quality in this side. If they can hang within 3 or 4 goals, they're always going to be a chance. But you're right, they needed a spark from somewhere, and perhaps that can be it. Lauderdale defence maybe expecting the shot on goal, not the little square up to the top of the square as we saw, and just caught off guard there by Casey Brown, who flung himself at the football. They weren't the spoiling fist there from the Bombers' defence, and they get a goal to pull it back to 26 points that they are in dire needs of, because this quarter had been all one-way traffic really. And back to the middle now. Smith against House. Leonard Marlin almost another clearance, but was just tackled off the ball. Smith back in. He's immediately wrapped up.
In fact, it's Jake Smith up against Hayden Smith in the ruck, which I don't favour that matchup for the Blues. The umpire does the right thing, gets it moving, all sort of agitation, and you can bet your bottom dollar who's at the centre of that as it comes off Joby Harper's boot. Chaos ball forward is collected by Shaw. He'll kick for the outlet of Sutton. Bouncing ball in front of the speedster.
Still carrying on.
Just gets it back as they're still carrying on in the middle, as you say, Andrew Cooling. That might be more entertaining than footy, but we'll continue calling that as Harper looks to bring it to half forward. Well picked up by Burling, just inside the line. He gets his kick away. What a grab. Really good footy. The Bombers will take it away on the outer side, and they'll waste no time.
Through Patton, who got it from Steinbauer, who took that mark, the youngster. Here's Hayden Smith. Quickly handballs it off, and they look to get that speedy ball movement going once more, but that was a pretty poor decision. There were just a whole pack of Blues players waiting back there for it. Through some rather indecisive handballing, they're eventually able to get away. Tuthill, well, maybe we've been better off continuing the handball chain. It was a poor kick, turned it straight over to Bryce Walsh, who's been very busy in quarter number 2. Bryce Walsh sends them inside 50, and taking the mark unopposed is Fletcher Hooker. Well, the defence perhaps not reading the drop of the ball there. It worked perfectly for Hooker, who will be the beneficiary. He'll go back from around about 40 out.
It was a sizzling ball from Walsh. Young Hooker, good promising young player.
Not a regulation chance this one, but one who certainly has a pretty good chance of drilling. And he puts it into the post. Just drifted on him. You can see the wind impacting that kick. It was never going to be an easy one. Does seem to have just flicked up a little in the last couple of moments. But couldn't quite get that one on target. Stays at 27 points. And they lock the ball in once more here as we push towards a red time in quarter number 2. Umpires spotted a hold here. It's going the way of the Blues. And Zachary Morris, the beneficiary. He chips it down to a one-on-one. Again, a good strong mark taken by Burling, who wants to wheel and get them moving quickly one way then the other. Sends Steinbauer off to get a hot dog and drives them inside 50. This defensive fist came, fell though to Thurlow. His kick was spoiled. Clearing handball went straight though to Foley. He'll drive the Blues deep inside 50. But back there was Sam Tilley, been really impressive. Got it moving quickly to Christensen. You can see the quick ball movement, a real focus of the Bombers, but again it just breaks down a little on them. Woolley back there with time to assess his options and tumbles an ugly looking kick. Tilley just goes off the ground and gets some meterage, and it's going to roll out of play, will it, just in front of Siggins. He was quite content for a stoppage there, Sam Siggins.
You can see the focus of Lauderdale, not so much pretty or precise, but just get it moving and try and catch out the Blues. It's worked so far to great effect as we're back inside forward 50, right where the Bombers want it. It'll come in, House and Siggins. House gets the better of this one, but it just falls out for Ratcliffe. There is Marlin, just gets ball to boot unconvincingly. Hines claimed in a tackle. The ball's still up for grabs. It was gathered by a hooker. He screws one out of bounds on the full. So the Blues will collect their thoughts and bring it back into play.
Real intensity about their attack on the man here today from the Bombers. You can see the pressure they're applying, tremendous on this Blues defence as they try to clear the areas. Poland been able to snaffle that one, not quite able to complete the mark. It's the ball again just holding up. There'll be a stoppage. Half forward here for the Bombers. 27 points ahead. Can they extend that further here as they go in low? Can anyone get a decisive clearance? It's pretty hot in the kitchen at the moment. Pick the ball up and get tackled immediately. Harry Richmond not shy about doing the ground level work. He's number 2 in the comp for marks inside 50 and also for tackles inside 50, which shows how versatile the big man is. Doesn't mind doing the groundwork as well. Leonard Marlin again, hands first the ball. Can't get his kick away, but geez, even when he's not getting a disposal, he's just getting his hands on the ball every single time. The big frame of Leonard Marlin was the number 1 uncontested disposal winner heading into this game. It's been his contested work this week that's really been the standout. He's just using his frame and winning everything in there at the moment. Another stoppage, this one down by the Blues, but guess who got his boot to it, and Marlin sends it deep, but it was always offline. Siggins after a hole, nothing doing there, and the lead is at 28 points. 22 and a half played, quarter number 2.
Work to do for the Blues. Woolley from full back. It's a bit bereft of options. Skips out, changes his mind a couple of times. The kick eventually finds Seymour, just gets his kick away ahead of Walsh arriving. It was really good grab taken in the end by Leake. He arrived latest, yet came away with a footy. Kicks long down the wing, looking for Riley. It's cut off by Shaw, just held up in the wind. Looks a little rusty, does Riley.
Hasn't been at his best so far.
Long layoff after the ACL, of course. It'll take him some time to find his best as Poland kicks inside forward 50. There's a whistle. It's going to go the way of Richmond, a hold against Fletcher Seymour. So Harry Richmond, fresh off an Anzac Day medal, will line up for what would be his second goal. The Bombers' 9th. Unthinkably, they lead the reigning premiers rather as it skips across the 50, sends his ball in the way, never really looked like it. Another minor score. Continue to chip away in singles.
Yeah, just the only knock on them just at the moment is these last 5 minutes. They've just missed a couple of chances. They were really taking them early on, and you want to make the most when you're in the ascendancy and get as many goals on the board as they can. As you can see, the wind's really picked up too in the last few minutes. The Blues having a really torrid time of it, trying to clear half back at the moment. The ball just hitting that kind of wind wall at the moment and struggling to get beyond it. So they'd dearly love to put another one on the board here, the Bombers, whilst they're in such control. But if the Blues could pull it back within 20 points at the break, they'd probably be content with that. Big few minutes coming up and a big contest on the wing here between Sutton and Chilcott, who did well for the Blues. They work it forward for Hines. Hasn't had the service he's enjoyed over the opening 5 weeks, but he delivers a little silver service of his own right there. Picks out Zachary Morris with a beautiful kick and just gave William Poland no play on that whatsoever.
Class, wasn't it? From Jake Hines, as you say, limited supply to him today, but he's one of those players that you just know will get his moment at some point.
So he might be the man to set up Zachary Morris for a goal here to cut the margin back to 23 points. It's Zachary Morris. He'll kick from 45. It was always starting left and just floats further out into the pocket. Won't trouble the scorers in the end. Leak working hard, the young man trying to beat the boundary, but can't quite. And we're throwing inside forward 50 for the Blues.
So Lauderdale 8-6, Launceston 4-1. The reigning premiers with work to do away from home. And he's tough to come to the tip and collect full points. It's down from Smith. Over the top was Harper. It's Franklin who skips away. His kick just stays in, but into the grateful arms of Tyrrell. Have not called his name much at all. As the ball is almost cut off. Sloppy stuff from the Bombers. Harper draws himself a little jetpack. And it was Josh McGuinness who jumped on the back of Harper and brought him unstuck. So a long kick from McGuinness. Picked up in the wind. It's cut off by Woolley. He skips away ahead of Richmond. Kicking towards Smith and will trickle out. So 26 and change gone in this second quarter. A quarter that's belonged to Lauderdale. A game that's belonged to Lauderdale thus far.
Yeah, they've been firmly on top. Can anyone find another goal here before the break? It's tough conditions for both sets of players, really. The wind really impacting kicks at the moment. So the handball's flicked out wide. Paul Freeman trying to get involved here. He continued his run forward, but they go slightly deeper. Searching ball, trying to find Taylor. Couldn't quite bring the mark down. Chip back inside. Is that 15? It just is. Josiah Burling wasn't sure. He looked like he was playing on, but will now get the chance to go back and set sail to try and cut the margin back to 23 points there. Josiah Burling, so just having a decent little end to this quarter are the Blues. A quarter in which they've been firmly on the back foot. Can they find a goal to show for it here? It's Josiah Burling from 30 out, right on the siren. And I don't reckon that mark was completed before it, so they won't get a score at all. And it ends here, half-time. Remarkably, the Lauderdale Bombers, who'd have thunk it, 8-6-54 lead the seemingly invincible Launceston 4-1-25. It's a 29-point gap at half-time, and quite a turn-up for the books here at the moment, Damien Gill.
Say that again, Andrew Cooling. What a terrific half of footy from the Lauderdale Bombers. Let's remind ourselves they only just got off the duck so far this season on, what was a Monday just gone.
0-3 at home heading into this one.
Correct. And I did say just before, hard place to come get full points, but it's been seemingly easy in recent times. But the way they've played today, they look like every bit of a finals team, Lauderdale, and there's so much to be impressed about.
Yeah, Launceston coming into this one, 5-0, 288%, sitting on top of the ladder. Closest anyone's got near him was Clarence getting within 6 goals of them. And suddenly they're 29 points down at half-time now. Maybe they were just starting to believe their own hype a little and they're going to get the old hairdryer from Thorpe at half-time. I'm not sure. You've obviously mentioned some big names missing, but Lauderdale, look, we thought they were going to be better than what they've offered through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, really. And today we're seeing what we thought they could. They picked a hell of a time to break out and produce it. And stunning, this, really. A stunning half of football. I'm shocked. Can they keep it going is the big question.
Well, that is the big question. They look like, in the early rounds, they've got the quality. Like, in some respects, you look at some of these players and what they're producing, you aren't too shocked. But they look like a team that had forgotten how to win. And you wonder whether that win on Monday is just taking a monkey off their back. They've come in here with no expectations and they're playing some supremely good footy. The story of the first half, Jaden Magro, 3 in the first quarter, an awesome goal in the second quarter from long range. Siggins with 2 of his own. They've been the chief destroyers forward of the footy, but also like the game of Michael Blackburn, who's just been a connector really and done a great job there. And inside they've been really well served by Nat Franklin, Bryce Walsh, and in particular Lennon Marlin, who's been dominant on ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it's all starting from. They're smashing him at the contest, and obviously part of that is Jamison House having to be thrust into the ruck without the usual 2 starting rucks, I think, today.
Correct.
The Blues. So I think they've taken full advantage of that, Lauderdale, and big Hayden Smith has given those on-ballers first use, but, hit-outs only go so far. You still need your boys at your feet getting the job done, and those 3 you've mentioned in Walsh, Franklin, Marlin are doing some serious damage on the inside, and Leonard Marlin in particular has been a real surprise in that aspect. Probably think of him as more of an outside type player, as an interceptor in defence. He's just been in the guts, winning these contests all throughout the first half.
And their outside types have been terrific in terms of their fast ball movement too. I think straight away of Sam Tilley, who's been really speedy and moving the ball with real purpose, and also Sutton. So they've been really well served across the park, really. If you're Dan Willing in and you get into the sheds at half-time, really it's just more of the same, please, guys. That's the best footy we've produced this year. We've just taken it up, well, more than taken it up to the best team in the competition. And now it's about how do they close it out, because that is the question mark. We said it before. A blistering half of footy. They're in command of the contest. How can they keep it up?
Well, we'll have the answer for that one in around about 10 minutes' time. We'll be back with quarter number 3. Can they keep it up? We'll find out for you. But through 2 quarters here at Skybus Oval, it is the Bombers, 8-6-54, leading the top of the table Blues 4-1-25. Will the defending premiers respond? Do stick around and find out. We'll take a breather and be back in around about 10 minutes' time.
Yes. Yes.
I'm keeping your grenade! I'm keeping it safe.
As the sirens echo throughout Skybus Oval, we prepare ourselves for what should be an enthralling second half. One can only assume a few tactical moves and a few choice words in the Launceston dressing room. Lauderdale would have been words of encouragement for what was an emphatic first half performance. We see Jake Smith thrust into the ruck. We're already seeing some tactical changes from the Blues as we're back underway. Hayden Smith just shielded the ball. It's won by the Blues through Thurlow, but he was going nowhere fast. So here we go. Lauderdale have set the tone. It's now for Launceston to answer as it's almost a headlock on Christensen. Half a footy to play. It's almost claimed by Franklin. It's congested in there as it's worked out by Walsh. He finds Franklin. Manages to scrap out a kick. Well claimed by Blackburn. Really good stuff to Christensen. Swinging ball inside 50 now. A bouncing one towards Siggins. They've changed the match up there. Christensen caught high. Tuthill just strayed high on the former Cat and Lion, and he'll line up for what would be a massive goal to start the second half.
They've kicked goals early in quarter number 1, 2, and Christensen now looking to do the same in quarter number 3. Again, winning the ball out of the middle, getting it forwards, and chance to extend the lead to 35 points.
Alan Christensen. Make things very difficult. He goes out on an arc, sends it swinging out to the right, off hands and into the woodwork. A minor score, so a let off somewhat for the Blues.
Yeah, you think they're going to need to get the bulk of the points back in this quarter at number 3. Does seem to be the easier end to score. They're attacking this quarter, and Jake Hines takes the mark and goes quickly. Looks to get them deep inside 50 with a searching ball. Unable to mark was Oscar Shaw. It fell off hands. A chance perhaps for Brendan Taylor. Couldn't quite bring it under his spell. Morris is there too. Poland, they want to rush it, and they didn't do a particularly good job of it. Eventually, they were able to see it through for a minor score. Nearly made a meal of that one though. And a minor score to the Blues.
It's either well disguised or clumsy. I'll let you decide as Josh McGuinness brings it out from full back. The scoreboard wing here at Skybus Oval off Jake Hines' Hines. I was about to go the wrong way, and I did as the kick comes in board, and it's Burling who takes a sliding mark. Jake Hines' hands is what I was looking for. It was a good kick for Burling. And he'll line up for the first of the second half.
Yeah, big kick this one. Can they get the first goal and cut into that margin? Christensen missing a chance at the other end of the park. This would be a big blow if they could cut it back to 23 here.
So Josiah Burling starts his approach, skips on in, starts out to the right, comes back but not enough. A minor score. So Lauderdale from full back once more.
It'll be Nicholas Hooker to carry it out of defence, and see that one just hold up in the breeze a little, but a nice mark taken there by the impressive Harry Richmond. One of the best contested marks in the competition. Ships it short to Marlon, who was absolutely everywhere in the first half.
His name would have been uttered in the Launceston change rooms, it must be said. Dirty kick that though.
Not his best work of the afternoon. Straight to Jack Tuthill. He takes the intercept mark there for the Blues. Second sees plenty of bodies. Christensen runs in from the side to try and put him off. Gets some good purchase on the kick, but it's a nice mark taken by Poland. Excels in that side of the game and adds another one of those intercept marks. And chips it to Richmond. Quite content just to knock them around short here. Marlin once again. And how they've built this afternoon and doing well with the wind swirling about to keep a hold of the football here. They work it up the wing, but just unable to mark in that one was Blackburn, who's been really good. He's a connecting half forward, hit-up type player who's been involved in a number of their scoring chains this afternoon. Michael Blackburn. They've generally just done a better job than Launceston controlling the football, and perhaps at their own game, as Smith competing against Smith here in the second half. Spills out for Paul from him. They'd love for him to get moving here in the second half. Got it over the top to Fletcher Seymour. Seymour sending them deep, was looking for Hines, but the swirl came from Poland. And out of play for a throw in deep in the forward pocket for the Blues.
Commanding spoil there from Poland, one of the greater exponents of it in the comp. So look to bring it back in. Launceston, dire need of a major. Smith in the ruck. He brings it to the floor. Walsh climbs in, as does Harper. Tries to wrestle by a couple, claimed in a tackle. Will be thrown in again. So 8-7 plays 4-3. Lauderdale Bombers taking it up to the reigning premiers as Morris is worked over by Smith. It comes out the back to Nick Hooker. He guides his kick into the arms of Christensen. Little one over the top to Hooker again, who kept on moving. Been pretty important in starting chains off half back has Hooker as he goes back to Poland. He's got the extra if he wants to use it. Finds Shaw. Shaw has Williams offering short. So Shaw kicks in the direction of Franklin. He's worked over. Seymour, good hands. Finds Tyrrell. Tyrrell now to Taylor. Wastes no time. Spins around. Kicks towards Hines. And a good mark in defence by Bryce Walsh.
So Walsh with the relieving mark, and again short to Christensen. It's been very much their MO here in quarter number 3. Just short little chip kicks. Not wanting to go long with the swirling conditions. Just trying to control things and deny Launceston the football. So far doing a reasonable job of it. Margin holding from the break, although again this one's broken up as Ryan Tyrrell comes across and spoils it away from Richmond. 7 minutes just about tick by in quarter number 3 as we await the first goal of the quarter. Back into play. One down by Smith. The impressive Magro trying to wriggle clear, but this time he's done for incorrect disposal, and he'll go the way of Jackson Thurlow, pushed onto the ball here as they try and get him a little more involved in quarter number 3. He'll send them deep. It's a searching ball, and it's a strong mark taken there by Morris, and he should go back and slot this one for the Blues to cut the lead back to 22 points.
It's great footy from Jackson Thurlow, wasn't it? Deep, penetrating boot, and Morris good enough to complete the grab. He shouldn't miss from here.
Certainly a badly needed one, and a pretty regulation chance here for Zach Morris. Can he get the first of quarter number 3? He can, and he does get that goal for the Blues to cut it back to 22 points. Can they build from this? Lauderdale have been pretty content to try and slow things down, deny them the ball. Important that they make a fairly significant move in cutting into this lead in the third quarter. You can see the impact the wind is having. They're not going to want to be too far down at three-quarter time if they're going to win this one, I don't reckon, Damien.
No, you're right. They'll nearly want to have it all soaked up just about. That's a good start, albeit we are 8 and change into the quarter. So umpire Geeson back in the middle. We've got Siggins in there, Marlin, Smith, all the prime movers. Smith of the Jake variety competing against him for Launceston. Greatly undersized in both height and weight. But he's going to battle away. That's the type of player he is. So Hayden Smith shields the footy. Taps on looking for Christensen. It's gathered by Tuttle. Just gets his ball away, but it's gathered by Siggins. His kick It's misdirected into the arms of Riley. That's not a great kick off his boot. Seymour gathers, finds opposing number in Hooker. He steers his ball towards half forward, cut off by Jaden Hines, off from Harper. He finds Seymour in some space. So Seymour centre wing, scoreboard side, looks to go inside into the corridor, finds Tudhill. Tudhill moves, keeps it going, searching ball, looking for Hines, overshoots the target, and it trickles out of play for a throw in.
Yeah, really interesting the Jake Smith into the ruck move. They're basically gone, look, we're getting absolutely bodied at all these ruck contests. Let's just have another smaller body in at the full, try and get a few more clearances. We haven't really got a ruck match up, so no point disrupting the defence by keeping House in there. I don't mind it. It's a different look, and they're just going to try and shark the taps, I think, as this one's worked towards the wing, almost completing a spectacular mark was Fletcher. Hooker couldn't quite make it stick at full extension. There'll be another stoppage on centre wing.
Moves well for a young kid, young Fletcher Hooker.
Some athleticism showed there. So once again, Hayden Smith with a big size advantage. Thought he had his shirt grab there, nothing doing. Tuthill swings the clearance towards the half-forward line. Defending there was Tilley. Couldn't quite kill the contest though, and Fletcher Seymour got his boot to it. It was an ill-directed ball, however, straight out of bounds on the full. McGuinness will take a kick in defence. 22 points the lead, just the one goal in quarter number 3. 10.5 gone here.
It's poised nicely, this contest. Experienced Josh McGuinness from defensive 50 will kick for distance. Long the pack form, Siggins in best position, did enough to hold the grab. So Siggins, again you'd expect he'll just kick for distance. Good purchase on the kick. Hayden Smith the target. Oh, he was in good position too, just interrupted by Dylan Riley. They wrestled forward at ground level. It was Richmond who gathered and found Siggins, but he was already out of play. So they're just milking the clock pretty well here, Lauderdale. They'll be happy if they can hold a lead akin to this one into the break as it comes in again. The Smiths collide. Down from Hayden, then Jake gathered. Spun it inside 50. In best position was Tilley. Didn't quite complete the grab. Off from Burling, a kick. Deep hemmed in, it'll be a minor score. So the Blues chip away, 5-4 they are.
And 21 points in favour of the Bombers. They look to carry it off half back here through Poland. Tried to find Christensen. It's a slightly dicey kick. He'll get another crack at it though. As Joby Harper stood that one up inside 50 for Poland to have another crack at. One of the best interceptors in the league. He wheels round onto the left here over the head of Sutton. Fell out the back for Blackburn, but he gave it straight to Joby Harper. Turns, sends them to the arc of 50. Magro was in there. The handball flicks straight up around the back, if you don't mind, from Ratcliffe. He's done ever so well to control that. Behind the back, Christensen now wheels them up towards the wing. This is where it's all breaking down at the moment though. Blackburn going in hard, but it's released behind for Tuthill. Just delayed the give and eventually finds its way to Foley. Foley works it further afield to Aidan O'Connor. It's a goal earlier in the game, O'Connor, and he'll send them inside 50 once more and finds the target of Dylan Riley. Considered ball movement there and leads to a good chance here for Riley to cut the margin to 15. They are chipping away here, Gilly.
That's a sight that would just make Dan Willing in the box a bit nervous. Dylan Riley flying for the ball and taking grabs like that.
So a chance here to cut the margin back to 15 points. They're eking away at it here, and they have another goal there. Dylan Riley hits the scoreboard for the first time this afternoon, and it's 6-4-40 to 8-7-55. They have the wind at their backs in this quarter, but they've also managed to just flip the game script a little here and just winning a bit more of the ball around the contest for the time being.
They've got on top in the middle, haven't they, really? Fletcher Seymour, one in particular that's climbed on top. I think the ruck move is actually working for them. Looks like Smith is maybe battling better than House, albeit much outweighed. So well done to Mitch Thorpe in the coach's box. 15 points now. We're up for a humdinger of a finish to this game. It's back in the middle. The Smiths collide down from Hayden. Jake again was at the fall though. Harper feeds it out. The web of handballs ends with O'Connor. Almost for Burling. Marlin just gets a grubby little kick away. Bouncing ball. Christensen first to meet it. Swings a handball back in Hooker's direction. Coming through was Siggins. Nicely done. Oh, clever from Christensen. Sock it up to himself. His kick couldn't quite find Blackburn. It was a juggling effort from Woolley. So Woolley now sweeps a kick out onto the outer wing. Smith competes well. Brings it for slapped on by Marlin. Shouts for a throw. Kick inside 50 now. Magro, the target, sits underneath it. Almost spoiled by a teammate, but Magro will go back. He's kicked 4 for the afternoon, 3 in the opening term. This had taken almighty kick with the wind swirling the wrong way.
Yeah, I think he knows he's going to need every metre he can get out of himself here.
So Magro, be every piece of 50. Crosses the arc, gets his kick on the way. Never really looked like it. In fact, doesn't reach the goal line, punched over the line for a throw in.
I reckon House might have been better off just letting that go through from behind in the end rather than giving them the stoppage inside 50. I don't think a bad result as far as the Bombers are concerned. They've had to work pretty hard in quarter number 3 to get it down here. That wind playing a real factor. Can Siggins make something happen here? Christensen got his hands to the ball. Spills out the side, burrowing in Harper. Riley. Siggins just sharks it, turns, gets his boot to it. Not clean contact, but somehow taking the mark is Blackburn. Well, he's done well to take that one inside the confines of the ground. The umpire getting him.
Throw in.
And he's chalked his way into a free kick going the way of Launceston here. And if he doesn't give it back, it'll be 50 in a second as well.
Well, drama.
Not sure what caused the initial dispute, whether he was saying it was a throw in. He can give it back. In the end, McGuinness unable to take the intercept mark down there. Lays the tackle though, somehow getting his kick away though. It was Burling. Got some good purchase on it too to Jake Hines. Jake Hines, he might let fly here from 55. Didn't quite get the distance on it. Parked in front, just unable to mark it was Leake. From the ground, Chilcott trying to make something happen. They'll do well just to rush it on through. Seeking the safety of the line, they get it. It's back to 14 points.
Yeah, I think what occurred at the other end was the umpire thought it was touched over the line and it was a throw in. Blackburn didn't agree and maybe said as much, hence the reversal. Luckily for Lauderdale, Launceston didn't take full toll, although sloppy work out of defence might hurt them here as Burling brings them back inside forward 50. There's a whistle. Might be a downfield free kick. Waiting for the advice of the umpires. It looks that way, so it's going to be a Zach Morris shot. He's already kicked one in this term. To be the first multiple goal kicker for Launceston on the day and to cut the margin back. Zach Morris lines up. Off the right boot. Steers it home, and the Blues are on the move here at Skybus Oval.
Yes, they've kicked all 3 goals in this quarter, and it's a really steep price to pay. Those downfields, they're just so often so unnecessary, not really doing a whole lot impacting the contest late. All you're doing is gifting a very nice opportunity, which Zach Morris wasn't about to look the gift horse in the mouth. He goes back. Cuts it back to 8 points with a regulation shot on a day where goals have been hard to score, conditions making goal kicking difficult. Just can't be affording those acts of ill discipline to give away such regulation chances. And suddenly it's back to 8 points here, and the comfortable lead the Bombers had not looking so comfortable at all. They need a response. looking content just to try and survive this quarter. Is that going to be sufficient intent? It'll be a throw in.
Geez, I reckon they had a case there.
It was a very strong case, I think.
So Lauderdale 8-7-55 have not troubled the scorers in this quarter. They need something here as Sutton squeezes out a kick. It'll bounce out of play, get some yardage. So 8-7-55 plays 7-5-47. Launceston have responded like a good team does in this quarter. All the scoring, 3 goals in the term, 2 of them coming from Zach Morris, who's presented well as a target. Marlin down, Christensen almost, off from Thurlow. He's really coming to the game in this quarter. It's picked up well by Tilly, lovely stuff. Kick towards half forward, it was touched off the boot, and Christensen takes what he thought was a mark, but will be thrown up edge of the square. They'd like to get the ball in Magro's hands. He's gone out of it a touch as Hayden Smith drops it down for Franklin. He's another that's been a little quiet. Marlin battling on. They bring it inside forward. 50 as we tick beyond 20 minutes in the third.
Can the Bombers find a goal here? It's been Launceston doing all the scoring. Quarter number 3, well one down by Siggins. Handballed into space. Richmond immediately tackled. He follows up. Worked it back to Patton. They're being forced backwards here though, the Bombers. Richmond did well in heavy traffic. Showed composure. Sent them deep inside 50. How will it fall? Christensen lurking. Handball off to Franklin. Couldn't get the clean kick away. Great defence there from the Blues. And they're going to take it out once more through Paul Freeman. He charges off half back. A little up and under. Chip towards half forward. And a strong mark from Jake Hines. And Hines gets them moving. He wheels and he sends them deep inside 50 to the teeth of goal off hands for a behind. But suddenly it's the Blues who are starting to move the ball with a bit of zip around this park. In quarter number 2, it was the opposite story. The team with the wind at their backs really prioritising that fast ball movement, aren't they?
Big time. As McGuinness brings it out from full back. The Bombers will just want to have an advantage going into the third term break. There's no question about that. In a lot of respects, they've deserved to have one, but Launceston moving the ball with a lot more purpose, winning it at the source. The prime movers getting on top. It's a different game. As the ball's brought in, Smith and Smith down from Hayden. Gathered by Hines. Free kick given away by Marlin. Hines getting in this game. Kicking long and kicking strong. Chopping out was Josh McGuinness, as he does most weekends at this oval. He knows it well, and he cuts it off for fun as he kicks long down the line, kicking for yardage. Jaden Hines at the back, burrows in. He was claimed in a tackle. That's holding the footy, one would think. No, says the umpire. Fortunate.
Yeah, not sure that was a legitimate attempt to get rid of the football, and there was a bit of prior opportunity, so very fortunate indeed. There'll be a stoppage in the middle of the ground here. One down by Smith, not decisively. Taking it away is Harper. Harper sends them inside 50. Plenty of numbers back here, and once again, it's William Poland, the chief interceptor, just chopping it off. He'll wheel around onto the left and hug the line. Sends them further afield where Siggins takes it unopposed. Chips back inside for Leonard Marlin. Got it moving quickly here for Magro, looking to get himself involved once more. That was not his best work though, Magro. Turned it straight over, a rather poor kick straight down the throat of Jamison House, who's moved back into defence, and structurally the side looking a lot better with that move. House sends them to half forward. That in turn is also intercepted. Nicholas Hooker flying through to pick that one off. Chipped it in short there to Siggins, who wants to get it moving quickly. Went looking for Blackburn, but seeing it out ahead of him was House. And a throw in at half forward for the Bombers.
It's the old Silver Fox, Andrew Hopwood, out there, gets a touch and handballs it into the boundary. So big moments in this game. Lauderdale lead it. Not by much though, as Richmond and Smith, an unlikely ruck duel. Jake Smith climbs on top of Marlon and will rinse and repeat. Left half forward, just about for the Bombers. So Siggins again, jostling, drops it down, looking for Magro. And it'll be Thurlow at the floor, ball in hand. So they just scrap for the footy. Lauderdale will do well to just keep it at this part of the ground. It was punched forward by Siggins, almost for Christensen, socket forward, trying to just shield the ball. There was Blackburn, climbing on was Walsh. And it'll be thrown in. Lauderdale forward 50. They lead 8-7, 55 to 7-6, 48. It's thrown in again, Siggins. Down, Richmond claimed in a good tackle. Blues from either side. Christensen off for Siggins, scraps out a kick, looking for Blackburn. Trickles out the back, it'll be a minor score. Deep in this third term, 25 minutes gone.
Can't imagine there'll be too long of a quarter. Just the 3 goals scored as this one's into the middle. Spoil came from McGuinness, but into the hands of Palfreyman. He swings them forward, but parked back there is Tilly. An awkward one to judge, though, and in the end it fell to Hines. Off hands to O'Connor. O'Connor just offline. And the margin is cut to an even 6 points. Deep here in quarter number 3. And the Blues will reel them in before the break, or will the Bombers still hold some advantage?
Oh, great mark.
Lovely mark there. Strong hand shown from Nat Franklin. He's been strong in the contest all afternoon. Franklin takes his full measure of time and then rather gets underneath the kick. The big men will fly once more, and Richmond taking another impressive contested mark. One of the best at that as he goes inside 50, just over the head of Blackburn, but it fell out the back. A chance maybe for Shaw. Looking for the safety of the line was Dylan Riley, and in the end makes it work, just kept going, carried it out to Hines. They've cleared the defensive 50 here, the Blues, and they've taken the mark as well. Fletcher Seymour, they've done really well in the situation they were just in. Pressure applied by Tilly. Seymour's kick into space, looking for Chilcott, but the Bombers win it back. Handball into the middle. Found Lennon Marlin. Marlin goes back outside to Hooker, who's charging forward and just chips one. A good little ball for Blackburn. The siren probably imminent here. As Blackburn just chips it, and it was indeed imminent. And I don't think that mark's going to count. Heartbreakingly for Luke Patton. No, quite rightly, the umpire saying no
good
chance.
Umpiring.
He's spot on. And I just had a sense as Blackburn was moving around on the mark there that maybe they could ill afford it. And so it was. It ends as a 6-point margin to the Bombers. They've eaten into the lead, have the Launceston Blues. The question is, have they done enough in that quarter with the wind at their backs? Will the Bombers be able to use that to their benefit in the final term and hold off? Because fourth quarters have been a big problem at this venue this year for Lauderdale, and they're going to need a strong performance in the last year to hold off the Blues, who were a lot better in quarter number 3, Damien.
1 goal in this game. The Blues showed their class in that term, albeit wind assisted. We're set up for an absolute ripper of a finish here, courtesy of Daily Potato. This is a tasty game, akin to some Daily Potato duck fat potatoes. I'll tell you, Andrew, if you haven't sampled one of those, you go get yourself from all good retailers. Get yourself some Daily Potato duck fat potatoes. They are terrific.
Big fan of them. Big fan of the duck fat potatoes, Gilly.
Oh, glorious, as is this contest. Lauderdale have been so good for so long, but in that term they were bested by a really, really good outfit in Launceston. Mitch Thorpe made some moves that influenced the game, namely putting House back into defence, a good one, but really it was their own ballers starting to go to work in the middle, and it was telling. And it sets us up for what should be a barnstorming finish. anyone's guess where this one goes. The goal in Lauderdale's favour, important one would think.
Yeah, they've got the lead. They've got the wind at their backs. Do they have the know-how to get a victory here? It's been a tough start to the season. A few games have been very much in the balance down here at Skybus in the final term, and they've not been able to get the job done. Well, they've been fantastic here today, and just what an opportunity to do what some people, probably myself included, didn't think we'd see in the regular season this year, and that is Launceston Blues getting rolled. I just about penciled them in for wins the whole way, given the way they've started this season. But they've got it all to do here, kicking into the wind in the final term. I expect we'll see the Bombers change back to the style of game they played a bit more in the second quarter than they did in the third, and move the ball with a bit more speed, a bit more purpose, given they'll have the wind, rather than the rather slow chipping the ball around, just trying to have as, I suppose, the Blues to have as less opportunity as possible to hurt them, taking time where they could, really tried to kill the contest in that third quarter. I think they go away from that back to the style that saw them build that big lead and play with a bit more dash and a bit more dare like they did in quarter number 2.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? That was a conservative quarter. It was a quarter from a team that was maybe in a position that was a bit unfamiliar to them, trying to milk the clock, as you say. Launceston probably could have put another 1 or 2 on the board, and it would have been really interesting. When they get their tails up, Launceston, they're really hard to stop. We've seen Clarence in recent weeks take it up to them for 3 quarters. Well, the Bombers have more than taken it up to them for 3 quarters here. Can they do it? Can they close it out in the last? That is the big question. And the beauty for you at home is, thanks to Daily Potato Co., you'll be able to watch all the action and soak it all up and join us for what should be a scintillating last quarter. Lauderdale Bombers lead the Launceston Blues. We'll have all the action for you in the last. We'll take a brief break now as we prepare for what should be a cracking quarter. Back for the last quarter, thanks to Daily Potato Co. Rush into a supermarket near you and get yourself some of those duck fat potatoes I was talking about, Andrew Cooling.
Making me hungry, Damien. And hungry for this final term as well, because the stage is set for an intriguing last quarter here. The Blues came roaring back at them, kicked all the goals in quarter number 3 to cut the margin to an even goal here at the final change. But Lauderdale have got a significant wind advantage at their backs. Will that be enough to see them past the defending premiers? We're about to find out. It is well and truly set up for a classic here in the final quarter. We've had some great ones at Skybus Oval to start the season, and it looks like we're going to get yet another one here this afternoon. Can they complete what would be a stunning upset?
Let's find out as we're underway in the last quarter. Hayden Smith hits it down straight for Lennon Marlin. He's claimed a Harper tackle. Cries for free kicks in there. Marlin thought he was held before the ball got to him. Up it goes once more. Smith down. Almost there for Franklin. He collides with Tuttle. Marlin from the arc. Gets his kick away. Sends it sailing just offline. Would have been huge for the Bombers, but a handy point nonetheless.
Yeah, very handy point indeed. As the Blues will look to clear it out of defence. They swing it up towards the wing. Taylor there, but it sits for Williams. Williams ill-directed and out of bounds on the full. So the Blues will get the football at half-back here through Casey Brown. They'll probably be forced to kick to a contest. And wheels onto the right and looks to get a bit of meterage. Sends it up towards centre wing. Spoil came from behind, and then the tackle laid by a hooker, but they're able to get the ball out the back. Wouldn't quite fall for Gillow. Seymour trying to work his way through. Eventually they're able to get a kick forwards, and then spoiling his own man back there. Unfortunately it was Franklin. Flying in was Tilly, but the Blues come away with it and they chip it forwards. It's a good ball. Also dropped, should have taken that Burling. The snapshot is touched on its way to Hines, who then lays a tackle. It's desperation in defence here at the moment. And there'll be a ball up deep in attack here for the Blues as they look to cut into the margin here early on in the final term. First goal absolutely pivotal in this one, as going for the ruck hit out with his boot there was Joby Harper.
That was some strange play. He held Smith pretty much in a bear hug and went with his boot. Loved every second of it. It's 8-8 v 7-7 as Hayden Smith brings Lauderdale out of defence. Cut off immediately by Tuttle. Sweeps across. Finds Riley, who's looked better as the game's unfolded. From inside the square, he pokes a ball, looking almost there for Morris. Couldn't quite complete the grab. And it's seen over. And it was out on the full. Must have just trickled out off the boot of McGuinness there. As the umpires come forward for conference, it's going to be thrown in. So the umpires, decided it will be thrown in. I think there was some conjecture whose boot it was that it came off last, as Smith in the ruck down for Marlin, couldn't gather. Quick kick away, almost for Hines. He dealt with Poland in the process, and it'll be Poland's ball. He is a mighty fine footballer, little Poland.
Yeah, quality as he wheels them out of defence once more here. Sends it over the head of Tuthill. Christensen looking to collect, but he left it behind. Just let the Blues back in. Tuthill went in, immediately wrapped up. There'll be a ball up on the wing here. It's a tight contest here at Skybus Oval. The home side leading this one as they try and pull off what would be a remarkable upset, but they've still got a quarter to get through here against a very good Launceston side who are in the habit of winning games. From the deck, that one was played through by Walsh. The handball over the top might release Christensen. Clean this time, Christensen, and then stabs one forward looking for Siggins. Controlled it nicely. Handball, little errant though. And it's going to be a ball up inside 50. Siggins with nice clean touch, but couldn't quite find Fletcher Hooker on that occasion with the handball. He'll now be cast in the role of a ruckman. Lost in the sun there for a second. Charging through was Dylan Riley. Lines with the handball off to Jamison House, and now Fletcher Seymour chips into space for Joby Harper, who's grown into this contest this afternoon. He's got more involved as it's worn on, and he chips this one. It's a 2-on-1 in favour of the Bombers. McGuinness is there, and he escorts Jake Hines over the boundary line. There'll be a throw in half forward for the Bombers.
So a 7-point margin. As it comes in, Hayden Smith misses the footy. Driving is Franklin. He kicks long, almost for Siggins. Lands with Woolley. He hands it out to Tyrrell. Tyrrell off for Hines, receives it back. Tyrrell over the top now. Finds Riley. It was well done by Sutton. Off to Magro. Back to Sutton. Now here's Christensen. Little pokey ball inside. Finds his target in Fletcher Hooker. Would take a good kick from here.
Very tough with the wind howling, stuck in the pocket here, but an enormous moment in the match if Fletcher Hooker could conjure some magic. Saw a goal from Ed Stanley earlier from a similar angle.
So Fletcher Hooker, the youngster, starts his approach, sends his kick. It's on line.
Hit the post.
I think it just clipped the woodwork on the way through. So they extend their advantage by one more point. It is an 8-point ball game. Lauderdale lead it.
Yeah, it went over everybody's hands and then just pitched and bounced into the post. Nearly a remarkable goal there. As this one's taken by Nicholas Hooker. He's immediately taken by Zachary Morris though. Wraps him up tight. 6.5 gone in the fourth quarter. It's an absolute arm wrestle of a contest, this one. One down, a good tackle again laid. Just dropping it there was Franklin, but good pressure. Foley laying the tackle on him. No room to manoeuvre. So, who's going to get the all-important first goal of this final term? Played over 7 minutes, nothing forthcoming yet. It's a tight arm wrestle as Magro tried to get through there. Picked up though by Foley. And it'll be the Blues to take it away and send it towards half forward. Plenty of numbers parked back there. McGuinness first to it. He's piled on immediately. As the Blues upping their tackling intensity here in the final term. I know if they can get another one and pull close here to Lauderdale, the nerves might just kick in a little. As coming over the top of Smith was Smith. Polfram, the competition's leading tackler, laying another one, this time on Jaden Magro. Again, the Smiths combine. Can be taken away by Lennon Marlin. We've heard that plenty of times today, but this time he couldn't quite link up with Franklin.
He's a workhorse, Marlin. An absolute workhorse. Had a lot of the footy, not always the prettiest in terms of disposal, but effective. As the ball comes in, Smith and Smith once more. Tapped down by Hayden, almost for Magro. Great tackle on Harper. That is a terrific tackle. Good defensive stuff from your half forward. Bringing down one of the competition's leading players in Joby Harper. So Magro now. Kicks long and inside 50. Siggins in best position. Brings it down to the floor. Stanley goes to work. Siggins negotiates it over the boundary line. So we see Mitch Thorpe in the background, overlooking his troops. Game well and truly up for grabs. Almost 9 minutes gone. The breeze favouring the left of screen, which is Lauderdale's end. Almost for Ratcliffe. Fumbles. maybe not the worst for Lauderdale in the finish. Goes out for another throw-in. 8 points. A long way from home still in this game. Hayden Smith down looking for Walsh. Lands in between his legs. Fletcher Seymour jumps on. Be another stoppage.
So this holding pattern continues here. Who can draw first blood in the final term? It's not a free-flowing match by any stretch now. Once again, it's that man, Leonard Marlin. Gets absolutely no distance on this one, though. Only vertical distance off hands. But it was over the line first by the looks of. So it'll be Joby Harper, the disposal for the Blues. Flying over the top again was Tilley. He's not been shy about launching himself in these marking contests today, young Sam Tilley. Quite the athlete. And stops that one. You could see the wind impact making it tough for Launceston to move the ball forwards. They are certainly getting their hands on it a lot more in this second half, though. Doing a lot better at these contests, even though Smith has a significant advantage in the ruck department. Again, the tackling pressure's good. And that's kind of why the almost abandoning of a traditional ruck from Launceston's worked out all right. This is just an extra body at the fall of the floor, which they've been able to use a little bit more effectively as the game has worn on. From hands and knees, Marlin got the handball out and eventually got it to Magro. Magro sends them inside 50. Unable to take the mark with Stanley, but Siggins shrugs free, turns onto the left. Howell, it floats straight through the middle. A huge goal for Sammy Siggins, and Lauderdale get the all-important first one of the final term and skip away to a 14-point lead. That first goal, the longer it wore on, the more important it was getting. And cometh the moment, cometh Sam Siggins.
Well, he's had a cracker, hasn't he? His third goal for the game, and they changed the match-up on him to some effect, but he's just impossible to hold off. He's so tall, he's so agile, he's so strong, he covers off so many areas. He's so tough to hold, Sam Siggins, and you saw his agility then. Came to the fall, did not break stride, and the snap was true. So back in the middle, the Bombers go as Foley is caught in a tackle, comes out to Seymour. Paul Freeman now. The Blues need to respond. Kicking towards 50. Flying well was Thurlow. I'm not sure how it ended in his arms.
Chest mark when there are four people surrounding the ball.
Luck's a fortune somewhat. This would take a good kick, but he is a mighty fine player, Jackson Thurlow. Returned to the Blues this year after a good AFL career. Steers it out to the left, and it's a minor score. So 9-10 plays 7-8. 14 points. 12 and change gone in the fourth quarter. Lauderdale in control.
Yeah, that would have been huge if they'd have got the instant response there, but tough sledding into the wind as you look at the purchase on that from Poland, then just volleyed out of the air by Siggins, definitely not 15, so it's play on. Oh, well done, spoiling there. Might enable his side to win the ball back, but the Blues will take it away through Seymour. Chips it wide for Paul Freeman. He turns and goes, just punches it down the line. Good delivery to Burling. Nice ball movement here from the Blues. Can they find the mark inside 50 now as the red and black shirts flood back into defence? Pumped deep in there by Burling, and the mark almost taken by Brown. Off hands, it's Aidan O'Connor who reacts fastest and cuts the margin back to 8 points. He's second of the afternoon, Aidan O'Connor. And they do get the quick response and back into single digits, that margin. And since Lauderdale got that goal, it's been really nicely done from Launceston. They have responded superbly and cut the lead back to 8.
Wow. Well, you can't keep a good team down, can you? It's been a real slog, as you say, to get that goal. Launceston responds, so 9-10, 8-8. Still all to play for. Dying stages of this game are going to be nail-biting, I think. So we're back in the middle with umpire Geeson. one of the better exponents with whistle in hand as it's down from Smith. Franklin got his kick away. Didn't go as far as he would have hoped. It was blocked. Wrestling for the footy. Might have been cries for a free there. It comes out via Sutton. He kicks long in the Siggins direction, works his opponent underneath it, deals with Hines and wanders on in and puts through a massive goal. Too big, too strong, too good, Sam Siggins.
Yeah, Siggins just dealing with Hines there. Might have felt he was infringed. Nothing doing. The big man just takes full advantage of the size advantage he had in that matchup and kicks another crucial goal. He's got both of their goals here in the final quarter, 4 for the afternoon. 3 last week, Sam Siggins, and he's once again having a major impact at the pointy end of the ground, at the pointy end of this match too. And they answer in a hurry. So after 10 minutes without a goal, we've had 3 and 5 minutes here as the final quarter's just kind of exploded into life. So can the Blues respond again in turn? They won't if they can't win it out of the middle. Just impacted the kick there was Franklin. Couldn't get his clearance away. Wasn't the cleanest work from William Shaw, who had 2 cracks at it. Still didn't get the clean handball out. The Blues will take it off half back and they'll send it wide. Searching ball for Dylan Riley. Will it stay in for him? It does. He steadies and just works it further afield. The mark taken there by Morris leading up at the footy. He looks around. And now he turns. Morris from 55 out. He stands it up to the teeth of goal and let the big fellas fly. Spoil came from behind. Stooping in there was Walsh. Hines in there as well. He's wrapped up. Ball released. Trying to get clear. No one able to do so. Hines comes in, lays another tackle. There'll be a ball up deep inside forward 50 for the Blues. 14 points the margin. Final quarter here. They haven't got much margin for error at this point, the Blues. It's the Bombers on the precipice of what would be a famous victory if they could hold on. From the floor, Franklin has been given a little over-the-shoulder free kick. Well, that's going to relieve the pressure. It's Bryce Walsh on the bottom of the pack, in fact. And that one, they'll be very happy to get as it just releases the pressure valve temporarily.
Bryce Walsh from defence. Kicks long to numbers. There's a whistle. It's going to go the way of the Bombers. Harry Richmond's ball. So Harry Richmond kicked 1-1 this afternoon from centre wing. Kicks long and strong, but to all Blues. Jake Smith was on his own. He's hurt himself in the process and dropped the mark, so not ideal on a number of fronts. It's the ball brought back in. 14-point advantage the way of the hosts. Smith in front, drops it down. Marlin worked off it. Christensen jumps in. Franklin gets boot to ball. High up and under. It sits well. Magro now, sweeping ball inside 50. It was a nothing sort of kick. Just whacked it on the boot. Lux of fortune. It comes off nicely into the arms of Stanley. And he can land a telling blow.
Yeah, just slammed on there and everything's come up Magro this afternoon. Even his slightly shanked kicks are hitting teammates on the chest here. And a big chance here for Ed Stanley to just about close the door here.
This to make things very, very difficult. Ed Stanley comes on in. Liked it as soon as he kicked it, straight through the middle, and the Bombers are on their way to a major upset win.
Yeah, they're just about there now. 20 points, the margin. 18 minutes tick by in quarter number 4. The Blues, we know they're capable of it, but they're going to have to pull an absolute rabbit out of the hat now. They're going to need to be near perfect. Kick 4 goals to this end of the ground where, I don't know if there'd be 4 goals total kick there all day. It's very, very tough now. Lauderdale getting it done in the final term with the wind at their backs. It would take something pretty stunning from here to prevent them from walking away with the biggest upset victory in the TSL season to date. Maybe the biggest upset we've seen in many a year. They were absolutely flying as it threatens to boil over once more. A bit of a scrap there between Franklin and Burling, and in the end the free kick has gone the way of Franklin. So it gets better still for the Bombers. They'll get the ball forwards out of the middle here. Nat Franklin sends them inside 50. Bit of a tumbling punt of a ball. Shrugging free of Christensen was Casey Brown, but Christensen kept on keeping on. Walking the tightrope there is Hines. Handball over the top to Taylor. Gets it moving quickly, sent towards the half-forward line, but waiting back there was Oscar Shaw. Just parked back loose in defence. We can eat some more time off the clock here. Send them up towards centre wing. So we tick towards red time. Smith couldn't quite complete the mark. Spinning around with it was Brown. Just got boot to ball. Handball forward to Jackson Thurlow. Can Thurlow get something going here for the Blues? A penetrating kick inside 50 is a good one. Almost marking O'Connor. Couldn't quite complete it though. Off hands of Hooker. And they'll clear the area once more towards half-back where the mark's taken by Sutton.
And Sutton smartly takes his time. Kicking longer down the line. Looking for Smith off his hands. Won by Walsh. He feeds it out to Christensen. Just a kick short of Stanley. Hands it off to Walsh. Walsh chipping ball inside forward 50. Who else but Sam Siggins? He can line up to kick his fifth and put the cherry on top of what is a sensational victory.
He's been enormous, Sammy Siggins. He has been such a presence for them in attack. It would be fitting were he the one to drive what will be the final nail into the coffin. You've got to think they've done enough now, have the Dale.
Sam Siggins to put the cherry on top. Comes on in. Kick on the way. Straight through the middle. What a performance from Sam Siggins in this Lauderdale outfit. A boil-over on the way at the tip.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning stuff this from the Lauderdale Bombers. You sense from the outset something was brewing when they jumped them. They played with a real intensity. The third quarter was about kind of holding on, limiting the damage against the wind. Then this final term, they've just come back out there and quickly seized back control of things, and they're going to win this game. What a performance this has been. 26 points the margin. A stunning upset that few, if any, would have seen coming, but thoroughly deserved. This hasn't been a smash and grab type operation. They've been the better side for nearly the entire afternoon.
No question about it, as we're back in the middle. Smith down to Magro almost. Harper wins it. Presenting well was Thurlow, cut off by Poland. Poland repels, gets it onto the outer wing. Almost for Fletcher Hooker. He was caught high by Riley, so it'll be Hooker's ball. He bounds away. Kicking long in the direction of Siggins! Oh, well, he's been the thorn in their side all afternoon, Sam Siggins. He's put the cherry on top of the cake already.
It's a right little grin there, enjoying himself with Sammy Siggins. Been unstoppable.
Just sitting there thinking, how good is footy? Sam Siggins to put another cherry on the cake for goal number 6. Sam Siggins crosses the arc on its way just out to the left. Minor score.
He has been the man leading from the front in this final quarter. Such a presence in attack. And they've got this game well and truly won now. Do the Bombers. The Blues will look to move it quickly, but surely they don't have enough time now. Bailey Gillow sends them wide, looking for Morris. Over the top came Shaw. Spoiled that away. And Marlin has been prolific, and he handballs this one over the top to Sam Tilley. Another who's been impressive. He solved Harry Richmond with a little bit of trouble with that one, though. Handballed to him under pressure. No prior opportunity, so it'll be a ball up. But his run and drive out of defence has been really important to this result today, Sam Tilley. Been super impressed by him. And a big part of why his side are 27 points to the good against a Launceston side no one had got within 6 goals of all year heading into this one. They have been so dominant to start the season as Bryce Walsh dishes it out and then cops it in return. And have been a few little spot fires this afternoon here. Plenty of feeling out there in this one. And they've brought that physical intensity, and it's brought about the results here today for Lauderdale. And Launceston, look, they're not going to be too phased. This is just one result, but any suggestions that just hand them the Premiership Cup now have been well and truly put to bed here this afternoon. What a performance this has been from the Lauderdale side, who are finally showing why. There was a fair bit of hype around them. Christensen, oh, it's party time here, all right, down at the tip. Alan Christensen adds another one, if you don't mind. And they're out by 33 points. Extraordinary scenes at Skybus Oval.
Get out the hundreds and thousands, Drewster. It well and truly is party time when Christensen is dabbing those from the pocket. Terrific finish. This is emphatic from Lauderdale. They are not going to just crawl home over Launceston. They're doing it in style. What a win for Dan Willing and his men. He'd be chuffed with this performance. Let's remind ourselves that until Anzac Day, they had not registered a win.
Yep, lost 4 to start the year, was it? 3 at home.
And I think we'd all convinced ourselves that maybe Launceston would go unchallenged this season. That's a good tackle in the middle by Burling. There are some caveats, of course, some very handy players out, but still a lot for Lauderdale to like and build off as Tadiel from centre wing kicks nicely to Bailey Gillow, who turns and moves and kicks deep and finds the debutant, young James Leake, who can line up for his second goal.
Yeah, he's given him a reasonable target. They just haven't had a whole lot of supply, these Blues forwards, to be honest.
They haven't. They've been beaten soundly at the contest. James Leake will line up and pop through his second. He can take the trip back on the highway and be pretty happy with his efforts on debut.
Yeah, a couple of goals.
2 goals. Limited supply. Done well.
A bad return for a young key forward.
Now, we did talk about some outs for Launceston. Blackberry, Musica, Wright, of course, Gronowegan. They're probably your biggest names. They've all got to come back into this team, of course, so it will be a different assignment when these two teams meet next, but packed full of confidence off the back of this, Lauderdale. Yeah,
I mean, Launceston are still the team to beat. No one's making Lauderdale favourites the next time they play each other, but certainly the early indicators this season with Launceston were just going to be streets ahead of everyone else in the competition, and today we've seen that, there are a few players out, but perhaps that gap isn't that pronounced, and they are gettable. And that's a big thing, I think, for everyone in the competition. Just that aura of invincibility might have been shattered a little. And that's what they had about them early on in the season. So a huge result, not just for Lauderdale, but I think for everyone who is chasing Launceston. As this one's worked forward, and here's the man who got them started in many respects. Jaden Magro, his goal kicking that first half really set the tone for what Siggins has been able to do in the second half. He was on fire early on. I think 3 goals, 3 of the first 4 or 5, I think. A massive part of helping them build the lead.
Well, he lit the fuse, didn't he?
Absolutely. And he's going to go back and try and find another one here. He's been very good today, Jaden Magro, and suddenly that forward line has got a bit of threat about it. Jaden Magro playing like this. This one's just hung out there to the left and offline for a minor score, but 34 points. It's been emphatic stuff from the Bombers. And the Blues had their colours lowered here this afternoon. Called to play on was Casey Brown. Just escapes the clutches of Christensen and Blackburn and sends it further up the wing. Poland back there, trying to gather it at ground level. Leak for the Bombers, for the Blues rather. And there'll be a ball up on centre wing.
We just await the siren now, really, to cap off. It's a famous victory as Marlon wins yet another ball inside. His bullocking work in at the coalface has been tremendous, and he squeezes this one out to Bryce Walsh. who kicks long to Siggins, and fittingly it'll end in his arms, albeit just after the siren. An emphatic victory from Lauderdale. The underdogs reign supreme, and a big result, not just for the Bombers but for the competition.
Yeah, shockwaves sent around the TSL here this afternoon. What an effort from the Lauderdale Bombers, touted as a team that could perhaps cause some problems for Launceston. We hadn't really seen it through the first month of the year, dropping games we probably thought that they should be winning, but boy, have they come out here this afternoon and made one hell of a statement. Such an impressive performance. And from the opening moments of it too, they really came out of the blocks firing. They looked hungry. They brought that intensity all afternoon. The third quarter, yeah, that was all on Launceston's terms, but that was purely a game situation. They'd built enough of a lead. They thought, we can sit back, shut up shop here for a quarter, and then hit them again in the final term with the wind at our backs. That's precisely what they did. Tactically, they played a blinder. They were outstanding all afternoon and thoroughly deserved this win. And the Launceston Blues, for the first time this season, with a bit of thinking to do after this one.
That's it. Well, they say in football, you either win or you learn. And there's some learning in this for Launceston, and I guess maybe that is the positive, that it's all been a bit too easy for them stages so far this season. They've got a bit of work to do off the back of this one, which Mitch thought, I'm sure he wouldn't be happy with the result, but he'll take that opportunity with both hands. As we just look at the goal kickers, the multiples, 5 goals to Sam Siggins, undoubtedly the reason Lauderdale won the game. And with 4 goals, Jaden Magro, probably the other reason they won the game. So emphatic inside forward 50. Ed Stanley, the other multiple goal kicker, with 2 singles to Christensen with an absolute ripper at the end, and Harry Richmond. For the Blues, the multiple goal kickers were Aidan O'Connor, James Leake, 2 youngsters, Zach Morris, and then singles to Dylan Riley, Casey Brown, and just the wonder Jake Hines. So they were the goal kickers. The better players, Andrew Cooling, there were plenty to like for Lauderdale. Yeah,
I'll go through a few of them. Sam Tilley, I thought, outstanding off half-back, offered them plenty of dash and speed in that transitions side of the game. Hayden Smith, I mean, they didn't have a match-up for him in the ruck, and he did what he wanted all afternoon, and that really kind of fed itself into the midfield dominating of Walsh, Franklin, and in particular Leonard Marlin, who was just outstanding. You fancy him to be amongst the votes this afternoon. Had it on a string, showed a real contested side of his game that I wasn't aware he had. I always saw him as more of an outside player, but geez, he was good in the crunch contest today. Michael Blackburn, I thought, gave him plenty off half-forward flanks, just as that hit-up target, along with Richmond. Obviously, you mentioned the goal kickers in Sam Siggins, just outstanding, and Jaden Magro just gave them so much potency. And at the back, William Poland was pretty solid, doing his usual intercepting act when it went down there, but plenty of winners across the park for that Bombers outfit, that's for sure.
A lot to like. For the Blues, less so. They worked their way into the game. I thought, the likes of Fletcher Seymour tried hard. At stages, we saw Jackson Thurlow get going, as well as Joby Harper. It just wasn't enough, though, from the Blues, was it? I thought, actually, Jake Smith, to his credit, when he was in the ruck, actually competed pretty well at ground level. But, yeah, there just wasn't quite enough of the Blues we've come to know.
Yeah, just beaten up around the contest for the most part. They just never really had the game on their terms. And we know when they get first use of the ball what they can do. You might not see it again for 5 minutes. They're so good at controlling it. But they take so many more uncontested marks than any side in the competition. They just couldn't get that side of the game going today. And I think you've got to give credit to Lauderdale for stopping that.
Absolutely you do. A massive victory for Lauderdale Football Club. They'll be wrapped tonight at the tip. Will be going off. So a 34-point victory to Lauderdale. They upset the Launceston Blues, their first blemish for 2022. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage here on the Daily Potato Co live stream. It's been a pleasure bringing it live to you. Bye for now.
Well, that was a turn up, mate, wasn't it? To put the house on. Oh, there we go. Well, for that today. got really good odds. Really outstanding odds.
Who's next? Who's